Artificial and a woman. Bratton,
Not sexist at all.
she. I'll expect the best.
I'm sure she's aware of that.
Look, that's no place for two women. Brutus and I'll go.
How chivalrous.
Ah, this guy. Brute Force was a third-person shooter released in 2003. It was developed by now defunct studio Digital Anvil, who were purchased by Microsoft on December 5th, 2000. Brute Force would go on to release in 2003 as an exclusive to the Xbox platform. There was actually a lot of hype surrounding the game upon its release, as it being hailed as the next Halo killer, which was a term commonly thrown around in the early 2000s. So why then did Microsoft sweep this game under the rug? Well, when the hype for its release died down and players got a hold of the game, many players felt that the game didn't live up to the enormous hype that the game was built up to be, taking issue with the uninteresting story, cliché corny characters which I will definitely touch along, repetitive gameplay and the overall lack of difficulty and challenge the game presented. See, in Brute Force you actually play as the clones of our characters and can die during a level, and if all your squad die you don't fail and restart the mission or even revert to a checkpoint, you just reclone your squad and pick up right where you left off. With no real penalty given to the player besides losing some score at the end of the level, you can die and reclone over and over again. There is no limit, so theoretically you'll never be stuck on a mission because there's no penalty given to the player for death. There are 4 playable characters that you can play as and switch to on the fly. First, there is Text, the heavy weapons guy.
I am heavy weapons guy.
Tex is the highest health out of all 4 and has a special ability called Berserk Mode, which allows him to dual wield both his weapons. On top of this, Tex is also one of the most corny, cliche, typical 80s tough guy characters I have ever seen in a game. This guy has no shortage of awful one-liners that will have you shaking your head and dying of cringe to your heart's content.
Shadoon, your ass is mine.
The newest member of your team is there now. You'll rendezvous planetside. A feral warrior named Brutus.
Feral, you partnered me up with an animal?
I've seen your file, Tex. You've got a hell of a record.
Files are for paper pushers, Hawk.
Damn. What's down there?
Will it get me high? Let's show these guys the meaning of terror. What the heck is that thing? Bratton, I've got some alien doodad here.
Nice work. Secure the object and bring it with you.
Time to earn some easy money.
Did you miss the fine print? This group is well armed.
They'll bleed like the rest.
Sorry I had to put you through that. Next up is Brutus. You know, the lizard guy. Brutus is easily the most versatile character, with moderately high health and speed. His ability is Vengar, which when activated slowly recovers health over time. As well as that, he gets his own predator vision, which highlights enemies, which can also be useful in darker, foggy environments. He also has this charge attack thing. It's kind of useless to use. Pretty much you just run at an enemy and it'll kill them instantly, but doing that depletes all of your special abilities, so I usually try not to use it. Next is Hawk. She has the lowest health out of any of the characters, though she makes up for that by having the fastest speed and by far is one of the best special abilities. Hawk's special ability makes her turn completely invisible. Using this ability can lead to more interesting gameplay where you can utilise her speed and invisibility to scout areas up ahead and flank them. She also comes with special equipment with her blade that kills most enemies in one hit and has unlimited uses. And that's still not all. Hawk also has the unique ability to hack terminals to open doors and also recalibrate enemy turrets. Hawk's always been my favourite character to play as. She's got really unique gameplay that no other character has, and I swear that is the reason. Lastly, there is Flint, the squad sniper. Every mission you play in Brute Force, your character's loadout will always change, but thankfully being the sniper of the squad, Flint will always have a sniper rifle. Although all members of your team can use one, Flint does it best, since she can zoom further away than any other character, and unlike other members of your squad, when you zoom in with a weapon, there is no idle weapon sway, which means you'll always be more accurate with her. Speaking of accurate, that's exactly what Flint's special ability is all about. She is aimbot, and I am not joking. Her ability is literally an aimbot that using her ability locks onto the enemy for you while you're zoomed in or not. So regardless of how good you are with a sniper rifle, using Flint's ability will always bag you an easy free kill.
Which charming vacation spot are you sending us to now, boss?
One thing Brute Force has going for it are its planets and its many different environments you explore. There are 6 different planets to explore in Brute Force. From the grass plains and beaches of Estuary, to the almost barren industrial desert planet Caspian, You have volcanic fiery planets like Osiris and Singe. Then there's the muddy swamps of Feryx topped off of a tree village. Huh, sorta looks familiar. And lastly we have a planet called Outpost? At least that's what they call it in game. Anyway, it's a pretty cool planet that you get to visit towards the end of the game, floating in the middle of space on a rock. So far I've been speaking pretty positively on Brute Force. Do I think it's an amazing game? Well, no. There's still a lot of problems that even I see with the game through rose-tinted glasses. The story for one is just awful. I really don't think there's much of any sort of substance in this story. And yeah, the gameplay can be pretty stiff as well. Sometimes the shooting doesn't really feel that great, it's kind of hard to aim your shots, the enemy AI can sometimes shit itself. And like I said earlier, the characters you play as in the game aren't really all that interesting outside of Brutus, and that's why everyone kind of knows this game is that third-person shooter on the Xbox that had the cool green lizard dude. And I've been reluctant to talk about the enemy AI because, to be honest, I'm kind of stumped on what to say about them. They're not really all that smart. I mean, yes, they're kind of diverse. There's different types of squads that you encounter. There's militia, there's worshippers of Shadoon, there's the Shrike. But at the end of the day, all of the encounters just feel a lot the same. It's more or less the same encounters, just of a different paint of coat over it. I mean, sure, there is some differences, like the Seers that you fight on Osiris have firehounds and the militia on Caspian don't, but then again, the Shrike that you fight on the Outpost also have hounds. They're literally just the same enemy, just with a different texture put over it. Also, another thing I haven't really touched on yet is the squad controls. In the game, there's different commands that you can give to your squad, like you can ask them to all stay put so you can move on up, you can ask them to follow you, you can make them go off on their own and hunt people themselves, or you can send them to different places. You can also command your squad to heal themselves, which is kind of pointless anyway, because once they get the low enough HP they'll just do it themselves. You can also command your squad to use their special abilities, which I never really seen a point in doing, because the special abilities are only ever useful if you're using them yourself. Like, I don't see the point in commanding Flint to use her aimbot and then just let it run out when, you know, she's going to be using aimbot anyway because it's controlled by an AI when I'm not controlling her. Brute Force also launched with its own multiplayer, but I'm not really going to talk about that because I never got a chance to really play it myself as a kid, and even today I don't really have a chance to play it. Watching some videos of people playing it though, it seemed that you could play just deathmatch, just controlling one player, or you could actually control squads, which actually seems kind of cool now that I think about it. It's kind of sad that I will never really probably ever get the experience at. Because thinking about it, it actually would be pretty neat to be able to command your own Seer army, you know, being able to play as a firehound. That actually sounds kind of cool, but I'll never ever be able to play that because the game was abandoned years ago. In fact, Brute Force would be the last game that Digital Anvil would ever make because the company was officially dissolved on the 31st of January 2006. There was initially meant to be a sequel to Brute Force being made, and it did get to really early stages, but unfortunately because Digital Anvil closed down, it never got to see the light of day. I don't really know why they never let the sequel go ahead, because Brute Force initially did sell well. It was just unfortunate that the reception after the sales just didn't look too positive for the game, but I'm sure with some polish, with some lessons learned, they could have actually made a pretty decent sequel. And that's why I'm making this video in the first place. I just look at Brute Force as wasted potential. I do think there's something there and it's unique, and if given to the right hands, I think they could craft something pretty good. In a world where every game feels the same nowadays, with battle royale and battle passes, I think it would be pretty cool to see an oldie like Brute Force return. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, I'm pretty sure the IP's up for sale and anyone can get it. And as I said, with the right direction, with just fixing what didn't work before and doubling down on what did, there's definitely a game to be made. To end it all off, Brute Force was a game that I really enjoyed during my childhood, and it's a game that I actually return to quite often. Sure, it's not perfect, there's a lot wrong with it, but everyone has a comfort game, and I have to say, Brute Force is one of my comfort games. I've really enjoyed revisiting Brute Force. It reminds me so much of my childhood, playing with my dad all the time, and it's almost like seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in a long time. Recently I've been practicing my ass off trying to get good at doing Halo Combat Evolved Legendary speedruns, and expect to see a video about that some point soon, but it's kind of been nice to just unwind and relax and play some Brute Force for the first time in years. Also, this is the first video I've made in about 5 years, and wow, it feels different. I mean, looking back to some of them old videos I made, I mean, they're terrible. I don't recommend anyone that sees this to watch the old ones. I was only 16, 17 back then, still in school, doing software classes, learning how to do TV and film production, and coming back and actually using proper software and giving a proper shot at it, it's fun, it's exciting. Anyway, if you made it far enough into this video and you're watching this bit, thank you so much for watching. It's been really fun making this, and if you want to see more of this kind of content or just more of stuff I make, definitely subscribe, because I'm gonna just try and do this for a while as a little hobby, because I'm having fun, and I mean, it's all about having fun, right? And this is something I definitely enjoy doing, so stick around, give the video a like if you liked it. If you have some memories of Brute Force, loved it or hated it, comment down below. And yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.